Have you noticed that as you're aging, there are undesirable changes in your feet? For example, bunions developing, your toes are starting to overlap or curl, and that you're less steady on your feet. Your balance is being affected. Our feet are not designed for modern day living to be put in shoes all day and walking on flat surfaces. We're meant to be running barefoot on uneven surfaces. So we need to work our feet, exercise our feet on a regular basis to avoid these changes. In today's session, we're going to go through some exercises that you can do on a regular basis to keep your toes and feet flexible and strong. So let's get started. Coming to standing. So we're going to just find a nice hip distance. So bring your feet together, turn your toes out, and then turn your heels out. That should give you a comfortable stance for hip distance. Now, you're welcome to use a chair if you're slightly unsteady on your feet, either in front of you or to the side, or chairs on both sides, just for stability. So let's rock backwards and forwards, just gently on your feet. And you want to imagine that your feet are sinking into sand and your toes are lengthening out. Just visualize them spreading. Now you want to find your center of balance. So that is under 3 points underneath your feet. I'm just going to show you underneath my foot now. It is underneath the big toe, the first metatarsal, the baby toe, and the heel. So a triangular position. So that's what you're aiming for, your weight equally distributed on both feet across that triangle. That means that you'll probably be a little bit forwards. So you can test this. As you rock backwards, you might find your toes want to grip the floor. As you go too far forwards, your calf muscles might kick in and your toes start to also grip the floor to balance you. So we're wanting just a little bit forward. Find your center of balance, where gravity is coming down and is equally distributed across your body. So we're going to imagine that there is a hook in the head and it's gently drawing you up. So first we're just going to create this elongated, lengthened posture. So we're going to just do some shoulder rolls. 1, 2, 3. And visualize the shoulder blades softening down the back as the collarbones open. Your feet are nicely rooted into the ground. Visualize them growing roots. Visualize a cord gently pulling you up. And your abdominal muscles are nicely engaged. You're going to raise your arms up and bring your hands down in a prayer position in front of the chest. Going to inhale to prepare. Exhale, arms go up. And you're going to imagine as your hands come down, you are lengthening out of your pelvis. Your feet are staying rooted, but your body is getting longer and longer and longer, as if your head is popping out of the shoulders, so that you've created a lengthened space in your body. Right, so we now have a really good posture. We anchored into our feet. We've lengthened up. You want to visualize the navel is drawn into the spine and the ribs are sliding down to your hips. So we're going to just gently start to bend the knees and feel your feet sinking further and further into the ground. Now we're going to start to lift the heel up. If you've had any bunion surgery, obviously you won't be able to do this rolling motion. So just go within a range that is comfortable for you. This toe-off position where we are moving through the joint, especially our big toe, is so important for how we walk. We want to maintain the flexibility in our big toe. So just be aware that you're not rolling the knee out to the side. Ideally, you're wanting the kneecap to track with the second metatarsal bone, which is the bone underneath your second toe. So this is really nice for stretching the fascia underneath the feet, the connective tissue, which indirectly helps to release tight hamstrings as well. All right. Now, let's just put our heels down again, rock backwards and forwards, find your center of gravity, And now we're going to really focus on spreading the toes. So I'm not sure if you can see my toes clearly, but I'm demonstrating with my fingers, like you're playing the piano with your toes, or a Mexican wave. Try start with the baby toes, and then the fourth toe, third toe, second, and big toe. Sort of just moving, articulating through the toes. Try not to move the knees or the ankle joints, just focus on the toes. And even if you can't do that now, just visualize it, making sure that there's no tension in the upper body. You're doing this movement joyfully. Maybe you can visualize you're on the beach and you're squidging up sand now with your toes. Just space. We want to open the space between our toes. Okay, so a Mexican wave. Right, now what we're going to do is this is a challenging one. We're going to lift our big toes up and put them down, and then we're going to lift the foretoes up and put them down. Now, you might not be able to do this, so here I'm demonstrating. We're lifting the big toes up. We move this tennis ball out the way and putting the big toes down. Now we're lifting the foretoes up and down. Once again, if this is not happening naturally or comfortably, visualize it happening. Or you might want to hold your big toes down and lift the foretoes up and change. You can see I'm slightly weaker on my left side. I had an ankle injury, which has meant that there's a little bit of changes to that left foot. Right, okay, let's shake out any tension, something to work on. Now you're going to practice shifting your weight from one foot to the other. So we're going to shift our weight onto the left-hand side. Remember, we've got this lengthened posture, and we're going to inhale to prepare. Exhale, we're going to gently lift the foot up. Ideally, you want your knee in line with your hip, holding onto something if you need to, and we're going to articulate into the ankle joint, rotating it. Just the ankle joint, not the knee joint, for example, that. Change direction. You want to ideally do 6 times on each side. Gently lower the foot down, relax the body. Inhale to prepare. As you exhale, draw the navel into the spine to activate your core, soften neck and shoulders, and lengthen up, lengthening the other leg up, rotating the ankle. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and change. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently lower down. Good. Now we're going to shift our weight onto the left-hand side again. We're going to reach our leg forward, our leg behind. We're going around the world or around the clock. Softly bend the supporting knee, making sure that there's no tension in the shoulders, just comfortable. You will feel the supporting leg is moving, is wobbling a little bit. That is good. You're working with the intrinsic muscles of the foot and the leg, well, of the foot, and you're activating the calf muscles. Good. There shouldn't be too much wobbling. Rather hold on to the wall or the chair. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, tighten up and reach forwards, back, across to the sides. You might find that one side is more stable than the other. Okay. Right. Good. Shake out any tension once again. Right, now we're going to practice going on to tippy toes. So hold on to the chair if you need to in front of you. Once again, thinking length, then thinking engaging the core to keep you nice and stable. So we're going to inhale and exhale. You can use your arms if you want to, or leave your arms down. And imagine you're lengthening up. Now imagine that hook in the head is pulling you up, and your head is going to stay where you are in space. And you're lowering your heels, but you're not dropping down, you're lowering down slowly, keeping that length in your spine. Inhale and exhale up, the diaphragm goes up. Whoops, I'm rolling my ankles out. All right, up and down. So keep going in your own rhythm, up and down. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Really nicely up on your tippy toes. Now go into a turn out position, and you're going to do the same thing. Up, rolling out and down. 2, keep lengthening, keep the rib cage down, keep the core gently engaged, breathing in a natural rhythm. Got 2 more. Good. Okay, shake out any tension. You can gently stretch the calf muscle by doing a lunge. So what you're doing is you're reaching forwards, keeping the opposite heel down on the ground, and feel that nice stretch into the calves. Right, so we're just demonstrating. Ideally, you want in every stretch to be about 30 seconds. Softly bend the back knee. I'm going to demonstrate from the side. This gets into the deeper calf muscle, the soleus muscle. When you're stretching the back leg with the straight leg, you stretching the gastrocnemius muscles. Right, changing sides. So the leg behind you, the heel is down. Once again, no tension in the upper body. We're just stretching out those calf muscles. And then gently bending the back knee to get into that deeper supporting calf muscle, the gastrocnemius, the soleus. Right, for the last few exercises, we're going to come to sitting down. So just come down to a comfortable position. And what we're going to do is we're going to articulate each toe at a time. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my thumb and I'm grasping my 4 toes and I'm securing them. So now I'm articulating the hallux, the big toe. As I mentioned earlier, this joint is really important for a good gait. When we're walking correctly, we toe off, and this joint needs to be really nice and flexible. Okay, now you're going to do that for your second toe. So you're separating the toes and you're articulating through that second joint in a clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. And do it for the third toe. Let's say do 3 circles on each toe. Fourth toe. And send love to your feet. They help carry you through life every day. We so often forget about them. Let's move on to the baby toe. And change in direction. Right, now what we do is we're going to take both thumbs. As I said before, hold the 4 toes and then the thumb over the big toe, and you're just going to move like this, articulating the joints just gently between each of the metatarsals. The metatarsals are the bones behind the actual toes themselves. So move to the second, between the second and the third and the fourth and fifth. Okay, changing feet. So same thing here again. Going to grab your 4 toes. You're going to articulate circular motion of that big toe. 3 rotations. Second toe. Once again, no tension in the upper body. Third toe. Joyfully moving your toes. So no tension in the face or the body. 4th toe. And 5th toe. Okay, so we're going to do an exercise now to strengthen the body. So I'm just turning around. If you have difficulty sitting up straight, you can put a pillow or cushion underneath your sitting bones. So I'm going to take your left foot and put the foot against your knee to support. And what we're doing here is we're lengthening out the calf muscles, and we're going to reach the toes up to the sky. And then I'm going to lead with a plantar flexion, which is a pointing of the toes. But I'm leading with the ball of my foot. And then I'm pointing my toes. And now I'm doming the foot back. So when I mean doming, I'm rounding that arch in my foot here. And then I'm releasing the toes to the sky. And once again, we are driving the ball of the foot forward. The toes are up to the sky. and then the toes are curling forwards into a point. And now we dome in back, so the arch of our foot is working. You might find a little bit of spasming or awareness underneath the sole of your foot. That's all normal. And then again, ball of the foot drives first, toes lengthening. Now as you bring in the toes back, you want to see the knuckles sticking out of your toes, on top of your toes. And you want to make sure that that second metatarsal, which is the bone behind the actual second toe, is in line with the kneecap. So you're not getting the toe, the foot moving like this. You want a steady return of the foot. I hope that makes sense. So ball of the foot, toes, dome in back, tracking that second metatarsal with the knee. It's in a straight alignment. Okay, let's do one more. And now we're going to reverse that. So we're going to go toes first, and then like you're surfing a wave, and then the toes come up. And then curl the toes, ball of the foot goes down, and then the toes lengthen and back. Curl the toes, dome the arch of the foot, and then the toes lengthen. Good. And last one. Curl the toes, dome the arch of the foot, lengthen the toes, and up. Right, so we'll change sides. So the right knee comes underneath. I'm just moving around so that you can see my foot. So sitting up nice and comfortably, flex the foot, so toes are to the sky. Reach the ball of the foot long, lengthen the toes. Now as you dome in back, the same principle here again. Check that the foot isn't wobbling. You want that second metatarsal or the second toe to line up with the kneecap. Pull it back as far as you can and then release the toes to the sky. And then ball of the foot drives forward, toes lengthened, and dome in back and reach into the sky. Ball of the foot forwards, toes, doming and back. Good. One more. Right, and now we're going to do the opposite. So we're keeping the toes curled, we're reaching the toes down, we're arching the foot, and then we're lengthening the toes. Curl the foot back, contracting, curling the toes, and reach. Toes go down, lengthening. Two more. Right, so then we're finished with that. You can bring your feet together and you can just rub out the soles of your foot or the arches of your foot. Just rub out any tension you might have there. You almost want to think of like wringing out a towel. You just want to wring out the feet. Just move them freely, just massage them whichever way feels good. So you can hold here just above the arch of the foot and then move the bones like that. And then the other side. And then you can imagine pulling the energy off each toe. Oops, I got socks on. Okay. Right, so that concludes our foot exercise. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for joining me.